What an absolutely crazy season for the New York Jets. And if you're not a Jets fan, you're definitely listening to that and saying it was not a crazy season at all. The Jets are trash. They finished the season 4-13. Their first round draft pick and Zach Wilson, didn't look great. And it just seems like the Jets are going to be, a terrible team and made fun of like they always are. But if you are a Jets fan, you have to look at the future and be so excited. This is the first time in over a decade that, the Jets finish a season and it actually seems to be trending in the right direction instead of being absolutely lost in the direction of the team when the season ends. I mean, finishing 4-13 is not what you want to see, but when you got to play as many rookies as the New York Jets did this year, it's just exciting for the future. All those guys were able to, get a lot of reps, get a lot of experience. And to be honest, the rookie class this year played so well that it just is going to add, a lot of excitement onto this draft. What players we're going to be able to get, how are they going to perform next year, how are they going to help the team. And then you're going to see the players develop, from this past draft into second year players when you can make a huge jump. I mean, if we go through the draft picks that played this year for the Jets, they had so many that, started and played and got snaps. And I mean, obviously, the second overall pick they drafted Zach Wilson, who some people are not set on. However, you saw him really grow and, make so many less mistakes, really grow as a player when he came back from his PCL injury, which is huge because that's an injury that, we weren't sure like how much mobility he was going to have, and then he ends up coming back and, turning into a really good running quarterback. And I don't mean like a Lamar Jackson kind of player. I'm talking where we were seeing him, be able to, make plays outside the pocket, get a first down. He had that crazy 52-yard touchdown run against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was just like, it was good to see that, that injury didn't set him back and he was still able to, flourish and grow as a player through his rookie season. Despite all of his weapons pretty much being, hurt when he came back from being hurt. That part was a little discouraging, but for the rest of the rookies, Elijah Vera Tucker, who was the left guard of the draft, Jets drafted at 14th overall, he had a really good season. I mean, some people were saying that he's one of the best guards in the league already, which I'm not going to disagree with. I mean, he struggled, I think, maybe in the first game, the first or second game he struggled. But besides that, he was really, really good, really talented. He was able to hold that spot down in the running game and the pass game, looked really, really strong. And then in the second round, they were able to steal Elijah Moore, and Elijah Moore, he seemed to have great chemistry with Zach Wilson, but also when Mike White and Joe Flacco, had those games, even Josh Johnson when he was in there for that one game against Indianapolis, everyone seems to have great chemistry. It seems like Elijah Moore is just one of those wide receivers that seems to be open whenever you need him and very reliable. So that's huge for the future. They drafted Michael Carter, who seems to be a running back one for the Jets. I feel like the Jets haven't had a running back one that they've drafted in I don't even know how long. It's been a long, long time. And the good thing about that is, how many running backs have the Jets had over the last 10 years? They had like Sean Green, LaDainian Tomlinson, Chris Ivory, just going through people. And like Chris Ivory and LaDainian Tomlinson, they were Jets for such a short time because, they weren't young when the Jets got them. They were signed in free agency. So it's good to have a running back one that you drafted. You're going to be able to develop into the player you want, and just have that player for a long time. And then you look at what happened in the later rounds. The Jets got so many players for the secondary, and everyone looked at the Jets secondary going into the season and said this is about teams are going to throw for 700 yards against the Jets. That's what it seemed like, but this secondary really held it down well, and that's a lot to do with the draft picks that happened in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. You look at Brandon Eccles, who basically played the cornerback 2 spot the entire year on the other side of Bryce Hall. He definitely struggled in some games. I know some Jet fans were down on him saying, oh, he shouldn't get credit because of the interceptions that he had. But, I mean, you don't really expect that much out of a 6th-round draft pick cornerback to perform in his rookie year. And, the fact that he was able to perform and, show some flashes, that really proves the amount of talent he has, and he's just going to continue to grow as a player. You look at Jason Pinnock. He really struggled for the first, few games of the season, a lot of the games of the season, I'm going to say. He didn't get that much playing time in the beginning, saw a little bit more playing time in the middle of the season, and he was really struggling in his playing time. But then, the last few games of the season, he has to switch to safety because of all the injuries the Jets have, and he actually seemed much more comfortable in the safety position, seemed to really understand the game, was able to make game-changing plays for the Jets in that safety position. So, that's really good looking to offseason. I'm sure he's going to be training for that. We're going to see him maybe make a position change. And if you're the Jets coaching staff, that's what you're going to try to encourage based on the way he played. It was unbelievable. The unbelievable like turn of events, to be honest. Like he went from being, like a player that was really struggling to a player that was like a pillar of that Jets defense in those final few games. Just so many players. Michael Carter II, another player that the Jets drafted, who seems to be a really good nickel cornerback. He is just able to cover those slot guys, one of the hardest positions to play. And being a late round draft pick, again, you don't expect much, but he was making plays, covering immense talent the entire season, and looked really, really strong. It's just very exciting to see, that draft class looking so good. And now you're looking at what the Jets have in this next draft class. They have so many picks. They have like 4 picks in the top 38 picks or something like that. I forget what the exact numbers are, but it's just like, hopefully they could carry what they did in the last draft into this draft and, just continue to build for the future. Besides, the Zach Wilson questions, you can build a team that, helps support your quarterback. And we saw flashes from Zach Wilson. The Jets need to add some more talent around him, because Corey Davis, he went down with an injury. Elijah Moore went down with an injury. Braxton Berrios didn't play in the last game of the season. I mean, Zach Wilson was left throwing to, players that were struggling to make the team in the beginning of the season because of all the injuries. And, that's very tough. And against Tampa Bay, he looked phenomenal. And that's one of the best defenses in the league. And Zach Wilson was still able to show how much he has grown as a player. And I know we can't take 1 game or 2 games and say, like, that's why he's going to be the future. But just being able to see, that fact that he was able to, take a game where people expect him to struggle and have a good game, that was just showing the growth. You look at the first few games of the season, the Jets offense looked like an Adam Gase offense, against, the Broncos in the 3rd game of the season. The Jets got shut out. They were struggling to get first downs. Against Atlanta, the Jets didn't even show up in the first half. It didn't even become a game until the second half, and the game was basically over, and they lose that game 27-20. Against New England, Zach Wilson gets hurt. The Jets lose that game 54-13. The defense, got a lot of criticism, but let's be fair, they were on the field the entire game because the Jets were struggling on offense. There was definitely like growth from the entire offense, and Zach Wilson in particular. You look at like the point differential when he was on the field, and the pre-injury and post-injury, it's unbelievable. It's just, in my opinion, the Jets are going to be set up for a really good future. I see a lot of the, people putting pressure on the Jets that they have to be in the playoff race next year. And I mean, yeah, as a Jet fan, I would love that. I want them to be in the playoff race for next year. But I mean, let's be realistic here for a second. I don't think that's like if you don't make the playoffs next year, Joe Douglas, you're gone. Robert Saleh, you're gone. I don't think you have like a playoff mandate in place, because you just went 4-13 this season. I mean, yeah, at the end of the season, you looked a little bit stronger. We're able to compete in almost every, the final 4 games. It's just, that's a part's a little, weird to me. I know some Jet fans are going to disagree, but I don't think there's a playoff mandate for any, the front office or coaches. I think we just want to continue to see the development that we saw towards the end of the season. We saw, a very strong New York Jets team, one of the most exciting teams that I think the Jets have had in the past 7 years, at least probably since 2015, when Ryan Fitzpatrick had that, unbelievable breakout season that he gets once every, few years with a different team. It's very exciting for New York Jet fans. If you're a Jet fan, let me know what you guys are most excited to see this offense. I'm going to have a lot of videos about the Jets. It's the team I enjoy talking the most about. I am a Jets fan personally, so you're going to see a lot of Jets videos this offseason. But let me know what you guys are most excited to do. What players you want to see the Jets sign in free agency, who you're looking to target towards the draft. I'll have both of those videos on who I want to get later down the line. I hope you guys enjoy the video, guys, and let's get ready for the offseason.